You're listening to The Positive Professional with me, Tracy Yvonne.
Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 40. Today I'm going to talk about what is work-life balance and what isn't it, as well as why prioritizing is essential for a good work-life balance. Now, if you ask a number of people to define what is work-life balance, it's likely that you'll receive different answers. This is because there are a number of misunderstandings about it. Some people think that it's about using effective time management. And time is an important factor, but certainly isn't the only thing you need to pay attention to. When some people visualize work-life balance, they have an image of a seesaw in equilibrium. One side of the seesaw is work-life balance, and the other is the personal life, and these things are perfectly balanced. Now, this is impossible to achieve in reality. So how do you define this balance? Is it about spending exactly the same amount of time on your work life and your personal life? That is an impossible thing to do, and even if you can do so, this does not mean that you have achieved the right work-life balance. Time management isn't the only issue. It's just wrong to assume that the ideal work-life balance is all about time. You can spend a lot of time at work or with your personal life and not achieve anything much at all. Now, I'm not saying that time is not important here. How you spend your time is what you need to focus on. Now, there are a lot of vendors trying to push their time management courses as a way to achieve work-life balance. So I recommend that you avoid time management courses unless you really want to learn this. There are other factors that you need to focus on to achieve the right work-life balance. And the only true way to measure if you have achieved the right work-life balance is through your contentment levels. If you're content with what's going on in your work life and your personal life, then you have a good work-life balance. Anything else means that you have work that you have to do. And a lot of people make the mistake of just focusing on one aspect of their life, such as their career advancement. Often this will result in other areas of your life being neglected, such as personal relationships and self-care. You need to create a work-life balance that works for you. And what is ideal work-life balance for one person is not going to work for you. You need to accept that you have to create your own. And this is because you're unique and you have your own work and life circumstances. Never believe anyone that tells you that they have a one-size-fits-all solution for achieving the right work-life balance. This is simply impossible. Your solution has to be completely tailored to you and your situation. So using someone else's solution is never going to work properly. And remember, people with a good work-life balance know what they want. A lot of people that have poor work-life balance have no direction in their lives. So they don't have any goals or plans and are drifting along in life. You need to identify what's important to you and pursue this. In the next segment, I'm going to talk about why prioritizing is essential for good work-life balance. Today's episode is brought to you by Ivy Elite Training. Are you looking for low-cost professional development workshops, topics like emotional intelligence, diversity and inclusion, and more? Then visit www.ivyelitetraining.com. That's www.ivyelitetraining.com. Okay, so let's get into why prioritizing is essential for good work-life balance. If you don't prioritize the things that you need to do in your work and your personal life, then you will never achieve the right work-life balance. You will think that everything is a priority and that you cannot say no to anything. And you know what? This usually ends in stress and overwhelm. You need to believe that not everything is important. And there's always going to be some things in your work or your personal life that are more important than others. And this does not mean that you'll never do less important things. You'll just tackle these after you've finished the more important things. So what are your priorities? If you have a long to-do list at work, then go through this and identify which tasks are the most important. The one way to do this is to identify those tasks which will give you the most problems if you don't get them done quickly. Now, these do not always have to be difficult tasks either. You need to identify the most important tasks and do these first. And I recommend that you begin with the easiest of these tasks, as it will help you to build momentum to get all the important things done. Now, others will tell you that you need to tackle the most difficult things first. The problem with this is that difficult tasks can overwhelm you. It's always a good idea to have a schedule for the tasks that you need to complete. And this can be in form of a simple to-do task, or you can use technology to help you with this. Whatever system you decide to use, it's important that you stick to your schedule. Of course, there will be times when you need to get something new done urgently, and this may mess up your schedule somewhat. But having the schedule in the first place will help others to see just what an impact taking on this new work will have. A good exercise to undertake is to track how you spend your time for about at least a week. Now, you need to be honest here so that the data that you have at the end of the tracking exercise is meaningful for you. And it may well surprise you how much time you're spending on things that are not important. Now, let's admit, these days people are spending way too much time on social media. And sometimes we are slaves to our email accounts. It's not the end of the world if you don't respond to a notification or an email immediately. Minimize the time that you spend on social media and schedule to read and respond to your emails at certain times during the day. You may also find that you're spending too much time with idle conversation with your colleagues, for example. If this is the case, you need to reduce this as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying that you should never chat with your colleagues, but keep it to a minimum. And as an added bonus, this keeps you out of the work gossip and drama. And the last thing I'm going to share is to prioritize your self-care. If you neglect self-care, then this can be big trouble for you. Not taking care of yourself emotionally and physically is likely to catch up with you in the long run. So always prioritize self-care and ensure that you're doing the things that are good for your mind and body.
Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to you tuning in to another episode. Make sure that you've subscribed to this podcast and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Stay safe and be well.